Okay, everybody, welcome to the Insurance 101 Master the Basics live role play training call. This typically happens Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm usually over on the East Coast. Today, I'm calling in from beautiful Oregon, back here visiting family on the West Coast. So definitely excited to be here with y'all tonight. This call is most of the time hosted by Hall of Fame producer Sean Simpson, fantastic host, really his idea to come together and say, hey, our Monday night agency call, it's a lot of let's interview a top producer, top manager. It's a lot of talking at you. But where can we have a more interactive call where we can give people the opportunity to role play, where we can actually incentivize someone to come on here? Live dials is fantastic. Love live dials, but there's a lot of, people working independently. They're muted. Maybe you miss out, but an opportunity for someone to come on here and say, hey, I want to get better. I want to role play. I want to go top to bottom on, setting the table, top to bottom on the financial inventory, and actually have somebody give me live feedback. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about really the basics. We're really focusing today on setting the table. That's going to be the main focus tonight's topic. We're going to have, 3 different people who are going to come on here, and they're going to role play and set the table with me, which is going to be great. And for those who do participate and they go out above and beyond, and obviously there's a little caveat, everyone's welcome to this call, but obviously if you're a part of this team, I'm going to give away $500 in leads for you participating in the role play. So that's just a little incentive that I'm going to give out to y'all. And obviously everyone is welcome to be here, but just caveat, since it's coming out of my pocket, I prefer you're in our group, but everyone's welcome here. So tonight, again, we're going to talk about setting the table. So the psychology behind everything that we do, guys, whether it's over the phone or whether it's in person, setting the table is one of the most important things that you can do. Now, setting the table, what's the definition of setting the table? Appointment begins, and I sit down and say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do today. Okay. So I think that's like the number one thing. If you're going to write down anything, something to put in your vocabulary. Last week, it was, hey, here's what most people do. This week, it's here's what we're going to do today. No matter what it is, it's all about command and control. Here's what we are going to do today. You have to get really confident in saying that and then lead, guiding, and directing the client. The client is looking for somebody to tell them what to do. If they knew what to do, they would have got their own insurance license and wrote themselves a policy. I think that a lot of us, we get intimidated. We sit down with somebody who maybe is a tad bit, successful in life. And we think, you lose confidence for some reason. Again, they don't have the insurance license. You do. Whether they're a multimillionaire or it's Miss Mary who's making $735 a month in Social Security disability, you have the insurance license and they don't. So that has to be the attitude in which we come into every single appointment, especially when we're going to lead, guide, and direct them. They're looking for somebody to lead them. They're looking for someone they can have confidence in, someone that's going to help them protect their family, somebody that's going to fight for them, and also somebody that if, God forbid, their claim gets held up, someone's going to fight the insurance company to make sure that money gets paid out. Okay, so you have to exude that confidence when it comes to setting the table. So again, the definition of setting the table is basically, here's who I am and here's what we're going to do today. And you're basically explaining to them the process of what's going to be happening during this presentation. We're going to get all the expectations out of the way. By setting the table, if you do a really good job of it, you actually can overcome almost all of the objections before they come. So I want to have a quick disclaimer here, because there are some producers that they get so good that you go, hey, do you ever get this objection? They go, no, I never get that objection. Now it's the truth, but it's also a lie. So I don't let people kind of get away with saying that, because you get so good at setting the table that a lot of the times you don't get any objections on the back end. But when you're brand new, you don't necessarily hit every single one of those boxes when you're setting the table, and you still get the we need to think about it. You still get the we need to shop around. I need to talk to my daughter. I need to this, and whatever. And a lot of the time you can overcome all of those objections on the front end. Okay. So that's kind of how we're going to preface this. Also, most of the time we think of setting the table as only in the presentation. Believe it or not, you're actually setting the table all the way in the phone call to set the appointment. So all from the control of that. So we're going to talk about specifically, setting appointments for a second. We'll talk about one call close in a moment, but it all, once we get to that point where the presentation is started, the part that we're going to practice tonight in the role play is going to be, hey, nice to meet you. We're going ahead and get this appointment started. Let me go ahead and, walk you through what we're going to do today. Okay. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be really the part that we're going to master today, because really you don't have to be that good at selling insurance, but you have to get really, really good at setting the table. If you get really, really good at setting the table, the middle can be absolutely mediocre. But that front end, that control that you have, that confidence of what you're going to do, it'll set up the entire appointment. So setting the table, it starts when you're on the phone with the client in the first place. If you have a really, really good script and you're going through it and you're getting them to agree and they're saying yes, all of that is psychologically you taking control. If I've already got them to say yes 4 or 5 times on the phone before I show up to their house, let's just say for an in-home. So talk about control here. I get on the phone, hey, Gabe, this is Jamie. I'm just getting back with you. You sent that request into my office looking for more information on the life insurance programs here for Grand Traverse County. I'm just the underwriter who's been assigned to get that info out to you. It'll take about 10, 15 minutes to go through with you. Are you working or retired? I'm working. Great. Hey, real quick, I'll have you off the phone in 30 seconds. Most people typically fill this out because they want to make sure if they pass away, they can leave some money behind for their family, take care of final expenses, et cetera, et cetera. Is that what you were looking for or something different? Yes. So he's answered the phone. He's already said, yes, I'm Gabe. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So I've already gotten 2 yeses out of him. When you get the client to answer a question, you're in control. Okay. That's like the premise of all of this is when you're asking questions and they're answering the questions, you're in control. If they're asking you questions, they're in control. So keeping control is absolutely everything. So, hey, is that what you were looking for or something different? Hey, good news, there's, good news. There's no medical exams, so all that they do is they just have me dispatched out there. I'll be seeing about 15, 20 families a day. Don't have a lot of time, blah, blah, blah. Here's how it's going to work. They're going to have me dispatched out there, dropping off the information. It'll take 10 or 15 minutes. I've just got to go through to make sure that you're not committing fraud, make sure you're not 600 pounds strapped to a hospital bed. Does that make sense? Yes. Another yes. Like the whole entire appointment setting script is just a bunch of check marks of them saying yes. You say something, you go through the whole spiel, they say yes. You say a little bit more, they say yes. Hey, and are you working or retired? Retired. Okay, you got any doctor's appointments tomorrow? No. Okay, great. You like to sleep in or do you like to wake up early? Wake up early. Okay, I've got an 8:15 or a 9:15. Which one works better? 9:15. Okay, great. I've got you down here for 9:15, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Great. I'll be there. Hey, go ahead, write down my license number. Again, taking control. You're telling them what to do. Boom. We've got the appointment set. So now they've said yes like 6, 7 times. Now I show up to their house. I knock on their door, say, hey, Gabe, it's Jamie. I'm here for our appointment. Shoes on or off. And I'm walking in the door. They let me in the door. They said yes again. Hey, is that your kitchen table over there? They go, no, we can sit here on the couch. No, kitchen table over there. That'll be a little bit easier for me. Okay, yes. They sit down the kitchen table. Again, yes. So they've said, yes, that's who I am. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yes, that makes sense how the process works. Yes, you can come over. Yes, you can actually come in the door. Yes, that's my kitchen table. So now I've already got like 6 yeses out of them. And now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to set the table. And when I set the table, it's just a bunch more yeses. And it's like you're priming them that they need the insurance. Like you got to remember when you're doing this, they raised their hand. They are looking for the information. It's your job not to screw it up. Okay. If somebody, if I went and knocked on a random door and said, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, selling life insurance, you need some? Like I need to convince them why that's important. Like we've already been through that on the phone. We've already got all that taken care of. So now I'm sitting at the table. Now it's time to set the table. Okay, now back up a second. Now I'm doing a telesale. I'm doing a 1-call close, let's say. It doesn't even matter. Whether it's a telesale or an in-person, I show up to the appointment. That's where it's time to set the table. If I'm doing a 1-call close, I'm getting through, hey, go grab a pen. Once they go grab the pen, I'm at the exact same moment as the person who sits down at the kitchen table or the person who calls for their scheduled appointment. Does that make sense, guys? I'm at the exact same point. So now it's all about, hey, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So we'll just do a quick, little, role play here. So let's say I'm sitting down with Gabe. Gabe's 75. single, and he wants to leave some money behind for his son. So I sit down, I'm like, hey, Gabe, real quick, just to confirm a couple pieces of info here. I got you over at, 123 Main Street. Is that correct? Yep. Okay, great. And obviously I'm calling you here on your cell phone in case we get disconnected. I can call you back, and this is where I can send some text messages. Great. Okay. And we're just pretending we're doing this over the phone, by the way. So this is where I can send some text messages. Great. Hey, and obviously when I set that appointment, I sent you a text message that had a link for you to click to verify my state license, or I sent you a picture of my state license. Did you receive that? Okay, great. Hey, did you click on the link? Great. No, I didn't click on the link. Can you go ahead and click on the link real quick? Why do I need to do that? So you can verify me. I'm just required to do that. So I'm putting the credibility out there up front. If I was sitting in the home, the version of this that I would do is I'd be like, hey, Gabe, this is the card that you filled out. Does all that information look correct? Oh, and here's my state license. Go ahead, pull out your cell phone and take a picture of that. Why do I need to do that? I'm just required to. You see that thing in the top left corner? It's my national producer number. It's like my social security number for doing insurance. We're going to exchange some personal information here, so I just need to make sure that you have mine. So whether it's over the phone or it's in person, I'm always starting with making sure they have my credentials, okay, and making sure that their information is correct. So if it's a lead card, it's an internet lead, it's a direct mail lead, hey, is that your handwriting? If it's an internet lead, hey, I just want to confirm that some of this information here is spelt correctly, et cetera, et cetera. They go, okay, great. First thing that I do is I always say, hey, not the sales guy, just the underwriter, no fancy presentation. I always throw up my hands. It just it builds trust. So whether I'm doing it over the phone or I'm doing it in person, even over the phone, if anybody's watching me do live dials, sometimes I'll just throw up my hands randomly. Hey, not the insurance sales guy, I'm just the underwriter, because it just it comes through in the tone of your voice, trying to kind of disarm them. Because if their arms are crossed, I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in a home, husband, wife, arms crossed. I go, hey guys, I'm not the insurance sales guy, I'm just the underwriter. And they go, oh, okay, got it. So it's all about building that trust and also increasing credibility while reducing the sales pressure. Okay, so I sit down. Hey, here's my license. Here's who I am. Take a picture. Hey, click the link. Great. Okay, awesome. So, hey, real quick, guys, most people typically fill this out because they want to make sure that if they pass away, they can leave some money behind for their kids, for funeral, final expenses, etc. Is that what you were looking for, or something different? Now, Gabe's going to tell me something. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my son, Aaron, that if I passed away, that he wouldn't have to come out of pocket for the funeral. Now, here's the key here before you go into how this is all going to work. The key is you have to make sure that you revoice back to the client what they were looking for. This is something that I learned from my wife. She was a 5th grade teacher. She used to teach the kids, you got one kid who's like, I'm mad because so-and-so stole this toy. And the other kid's like, well, let me revoice this back to you. So you're mad because I stole the toy. It's just this psychology of revoicing back to them to make sure they're feeling heard. So, hey, Gabe, if what I'm hearing correctly here is you want to make sure that your son, Aaron, isn't going to have any burdens left behind. You want to make sure that if something happens to you, that he can take care of the funeral, the cremation, et cetera. Is that correct? Yes. Another yes. Okay, perfect. So here's what we're going to do today, and here's how this is going to work. Here's what we're going to do today, and here's how this is going to work. Now, again, you don't have to follow what I do verbatim. You just have to get really confident at your opener. Here's who I am. Here's my credibility. Just want to confirm what you're looking for. Let me revoice back to what you're looking for. Okay, great. So as I kind of told you before, I'm a broker. I work with all of the insurance companies. I don't work for any one company in particular, so I can shop around for you. And I'm also what's considered an underwriter, like I told you, which means I'm going to ask you some health questions to figure out what you're eligible for. Okay, I'm a non-captive agent. Captive is like, State Farm or Allstate or USAA or any of those companies. That would mean I wouldn't be able to show you anything else. I'm not stuck in a box like a captive agent. I'm non-captive, so I can really show you anything. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to ask you 2 minutes of questions on your health, about 1 minute on your finance. Based on how you answer those questions, I'll make a quick recommendation. I'll show you a couple of options. And if we see something that makes sense, we are going to submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. Does that sound fair? Yes. So now you've told them who you are, what you do. Hey, we're not going to be shopping around here because I'm the broker. I got everything. Like, again, they're not going to be shopping around. So you get to the end, like, we just want to shop around. Remember at the beginning when I told you I'm a broker and I work with all these companies? Like, I'm going to be shopping for you. Like, if you're strong on that, they'll remember that you're a broker and they don't need to take another agent's phone call because you're the one who's there to help them. And you're explaining, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to ask you 2 minutes of health questions. I'm going to ask you a minute on your finance. And then I'm going to make my recommendations. We're going to pick one. And then we're going to submit a request for coverage. Like, it's all control. Here's what we're going to do today. So now when we get to that point where it's like, it's time to submit an application, it's like, well, we said that's what we were going to do today. Versus I was just looking for a quote. I'm not the quote guy. I'm the submit request for coverage guy. Because we don't even know if you can qualify. So it's like getting all of that up front. Some people, they also like to throw in the idea of, hey, and like I told you, we can't even make a final decision today. We don't even know if we can get approved. So we're going through this whole process to find out what you can actually qualify for. And then the insurance company, they're going to let us know if you qualify, and then we can make a final decision or we can adjust. But number one today, our goal is to make sure that we can find something you can qualify for. Our goal is to make sure we can find something that's affordable and something that you can keep and something that you understand. Does that make sense? Now, again, like, I'm just throwing out a couple different word tracks for you. I'm going to say it one way. You're going to say it another way. Again, if you find that perfect word track, you steal some things from me, steal some things from other people. Again, just like last week, what did we talk about? Or 2 weeks ago, we talked about how the script doesn't matter as long as you follow the principles of the script. The principle of the script, I think we wrote down 8 principles or something like that in regards to, hey, here's who I am, here's why I'm calling, et cetera, confirming a piece of information, locking it down, clearing the schedule, cementing it, et cetera. Like, you can say whatever you want as long as you hit those points. Same deal when it comes to setting the table. So setting the table is everything, because it's going to be how you overcome objections on the back end before they happen. Naturally, as a brand new person, you're going to not be as strong at setting the table as you will be in the future, and you're still going to get objections on the back end. Now, when you watch somebody who's been doing this for a while do a live presentation, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so smooth. The client just, like, they did everything you said. That one was so easy. That must have been one of those good leads. No, it's the same exact lead. It's just that person did a really good job of putting the client at ease. Because the same exact lead could have been presented to by 2 different people, and one person makes them feel super uncomfortable and they have every objection in the world, and the other person makes them feel at ease. Again, what's the key here? Increase credibility, reduce sales pressure. Increase credibility, reduce sales pressure. That's it. Like, that's the key. How can I increase my credibility with the client? I have the insurance license. You don't. I'm the broker. You're not. I'm the expert. Even if you're not, you don't have to be the expert, but, like, you have to have the attitude of an expert, because you know you have experts behind you. Let's say you don't know a single thing about underwriting. That's all right. You go, hey, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick call to my senior underwriter. His name is Grady. It'll take me about 2-3 minutes. I'm just going to get a second opinion. I'm pretty sure what direction we're going to go, but I just want to get a second opinion. Call Grady. Grady says, hey, go America Eagle. And maybe you've never even written a policy before. You don't even know what that means. And you're on the phone with Grady and you go, all right, perfect, Grady. That's exactly what I was thinking too. And to, like, the client, they're like, oh, that's exactly what he was thinking too. Great. He knows exactly what he's doing. So just know that, like, we say this all the time. So this business, if you break it down to 100%, 80% is the phones, 15% is the presentation, and 5% is the products. Okay. So again, I was having a conversation. I'll pick on Gabe a little bit, just because we were having a conversation about this the other day. And he's like, dude, I need to work on my presentation. I need to increase my closing ratio. And I was like, actually, like, how many presentations do you had? We were just going through some numbers. I'm like, actually, it's not your closing ratio at all. You need more presentations. So that's where, like, the 80% is the phones. The 80% is the dialing out. The 80% is getting those appointments and getting those opportunities. Because I can't tell you how many people go, man, I hate dialing. If I could just do in-homes all day, or if I could just do presentations, I'd crush it. Absolutely. Put 15 appointments on my schedule a day and I'll be the number 1 producer in the company. But that's not how it works. I have to put those appointments on my schedule. So, like, a lot of the times we, like, think we need to become better at presenting, but actually we just need more activity on the front end to get those appointments. And that's where it's like this 15%, which is the presentation. If you get really, really good at setting the table, Closing 50% of your clients is not like, it's not crazy. It's not crazy at all. Like, if you get really good at setting the table, you should close half of the people you talk to. Like, that should be an expectation. And when you go to like the 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10, that's when you're really good at overcoming the objections on the back end. Okay. So it's like, I believe that anybody, if you have 10 real presentations, top to bottom, like you go all the way through it, you present them the options, anybody, and this obviously, if there was a disclaimer here, not everybody's going to do this, but I believe that anybody should be able to close 2 out of 10 full presentations because they're a lead. These aren't random people you walked up to at the mall and said you want life insurance. Like, they requested something, they had interest. I've walked into homes where literally I sat down and the person had their checkbook and their driver's license on the table. They were ready to buy no matter what I said. Like, that absolutely is a percentage of the people. And then you have a percentage of the people who are never going to buy no matter who you are. Unless you're a Sean Mike or, number one producer in the company, they're probably not going to buy from you. Like, there's that percentage. And then there's the middle. The middle is where they requested the insurance. And it's like, of that middle, it's like the 2 out of 10 who's going to buy no matter what. How do you get the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? You get that by getting better. You get that by learning how to gain more control. You get that by being great at setting the table. You get that by giving them confidence and ease. So like, you can have the person who literally, you're the worst presenter of all time, but they need the insurance. They're going to buy from you no matter what. You have the person who's never going to buy from you. And then you have everybody in the middle. The top producers in this company got really, really good at getting the people in the middle. They forget about the people that no one's ever going to buy from. They forget about those people who just are having a horrible day and just hate the world, like never going to buy no matter what, skeptical of everything you say, disrespectful of you in the appointments. They forget about those people and they focus on all the people in the middle. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10. That's what they focus on, because that's where it requires you to actually get good at this. That's where it requires you to actually decide, I'm going to learn a handful of word tracks. That's it. Like, when I first got started, I was like, how in the world am I going to memorize this presentation? The thing is, it's not really like a fancy presentation. Like, I've sold things where like I walked and I sat down in the home and I had like a flip book binder, and I was like, I had the script on the back of the binder, and I'm literally like reading like slide by slide, flipping this little book over and like showing this fancy presentation that's like 45 minutes, building up the value. And on the last slide, and it's like, and it only costs, $4.99, like whatever it is. Like, it's not that kind of presentation. It's a conversation. I sit down with somebody. Hey, what were you looking for? Okay, great. Here's who I am. Here's what we're going to do today. Does that make sense? Great. Then I just read the questions off the financial inventory. I call my manager and I say, hey, what do I do here? They tell you what to do. And then like, really the 2 most important parts of the presentation are the setting of the table and then what you say when you're making your recommendation. That's about it. Because that's when you start building value. And that's not what today's call is going to be about. But that's when you go through and you're like, hey, I got 3 different options for you. Here's what option 1's going to do. Option 2 is going to do. Option 3 is going to do. And then like, what's the closing question? The closing question is, hey, so Gabe, we don't even know if we can qualify. But if you could qualify, which one of these 3 options makes sense? The middle one. Okay, great. Like, that's the closing question. It's not some grandiose thing. So like, you have to understand, like, it's actually really, really simple what we do. So I'll walk us through it one more time, and then we'll pick some people out of the audience that we're going to do some setting the table role play with. But again, so, hey, Gabe, thanks for sitting down with me. Again, no fancy presentation. I'm not the insurance sales guy. I'm just the underwriter. Hey, you fill this thing out. You send a request online looking for a quote for life insurance. Most people typically fill it out because they want to leave some money behind for their family, take care of final expenses, pay off a house, etc. What were you looking for? You want to leave money behind for the funeral? Okay, great. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you wanted to make sure that if something happened to you, your son Aaron wasn't going to feel any burdens left behind, correct? Yes. Okay, great. So the way this is going to work is we're just going to ask you 2 minutes of questions on your health, about a minute on your finance. Based on how you answer those questions, I'm going to make a quick recommendation for you. I'll show you a few options. If we see something that makes sense, we're going to go ahead and submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. And if nothing makes sense, no harm, no foul. Fair? Great. Okay. And again, I don't even know if we can get you qualified I'm not the quote guy. I'm really like the eligibility underwriter guy. So we got to see if you can qualify first. So Gabe, we can't even make any final decisions today, even if we wanted to, because just like you're going to want to think about it, the insurance company is going to want to think about you first. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Shall we proceed? Simple. And at that point, we enter into the financial inventory and we start asking questions. We start finding needs. Once we find some needs, we jump into, building value. Once we build value, we make a suggestion, we close, fill out the application, cement the sale, and obviously, overcome objections somewhere in between there. Does that all make sense, guys? Okay. So simple enough. So I had a couple of people who reached out to me directly, and I want to make sure I honor some of those in regards to people who wanted to role play tonight. So I got Miss Nakia out there. I'm gonna bring you on first. I already tell you want to be on first. All right, let's get you unmuted.
Okay, am I unmute? Am I
Yes,
unmuted?
I can hear you. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome to the call. So for everybody else on here, where are you calling in from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Let's go. And have you had your first dial day yet?
Where I've talked to people, or where I've just kind of sat on the phone?
Like sat on the phone, set appointments. Yeah. Just give everybody a perspective, kind of where you're at in the process.
Oh, I've sat on the phone a lot. No, I haven't set any appointments, but I have had a dial day, but because I also go and meet people in person.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So we're just going to do a live role play. We're just going to pretend I'm a final expense client that you set an appointment with. I'll give you some answers. So obviously you have an opportunity to kind of revoice and stuff, but are you planning on doing over the phone or in person?
Yeah. Okay. So are we setting an appointment, or am I at your house? Which one are we doing?
So so are you planning on going to see the clients in person?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to pretend you just sat down at my kitchen table. You're in the door, kitchen table, and now the goal is that you're going to set the table. You're going to tell me why you're there. You're going to walk me up to the point where now I'm agreeing to the process and we're about to start the financial inventory.
Okay. So I'm past giving you my license and all of that. We're actually
Oh no, give me your license. We just sat down. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Should I go now? Should I go?
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, you're just going to be staring at the client and it's going to be really awkward.
Okay, Jamie. So, we're here today because you have reached out that you wanted to get some information about leaving some money behind for your family if you pass away, or, so they can cover like your burial expenses and things like that. Is that what you were looking for today?
Yeah, I think so. I was just kind of looking for some quotes.
Okay, so is there anything in particular you're looking for? Are you looking for something for burial, or are you looking to leave money behind?
A little bit of both. I want to make sure that if I pass away, my wife will be okay, and none of my kids have to come out of pocket for any funeral expenses.
Okay, perfect. That's what most people want to do. So I just want to be sure that I'm understanding what you want. You want to make sure that your wife and your children are okay, and that they don't have to come out of pocket for any funeral expenses. Correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Okay, so this is not going to take that long. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to give you some information, and then we're going to see, what you can qualify for. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, good. So I'm going to start by asking you some questions about your health. Do you smoke?
I'm a non-smoker. So let me pause you there, because now we're in the financial inventory. We want to build up just a little bit more value of who you are and what you're going to do. So like the things that I would recommend putting in there, and obviously we're putting you on the spot, but we'll restart from the top here, is, hey, here is my state license, slide it across the table. Go ahead, take a picture of that. Okay, great. I'm a broker. I work with all these companies. So if you're sitting in the home, I recommend bringing in a credibility sheet that has all of the carriers on it. So, hey, you see all these carriers here? I work with all of them. I'm a broker. I can kind of shop around for you. And, I'm an underwriter. So I'm going to ask you some questions, just to determine what you qualify for. So we want to make sure that we let them know, that you're licensed, here's my license, here's my credibility. You did a really, really good job on the revoicing back. I think a lot of agents have a hard time with that. Really just adding in a little bit more credibility of, who you are. Here's my license. I'm a broker, I'm an underwriter, and here's what we're going to do today. You have to really put in there, I'm going to ask you this, I'm going to ask you this, then we're going to show you options, and then we're going to, submit a request for coverage. It's almost like I used to have this in-home agenda. Like if you were to break down the presentation into steps, it's almost like telling the client every step in the presentation. Then so just like we went through it. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. And great. Then I'm going to ask you these questions. Then I'm going to write down some options on a piece of paper. Then we're going to find one that works. Then we're going to do an application, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense?
Yep. Makes perfect
sense.
Okay.
Let's start back from the top.
Okay. Sorry, I keep waiting for you to say something. Right. Okay. So Jamie, we're going to sit down today and talk about what your goals are. I know that you reached out because you were looking to get some burial information or possibly some information for leaving money behind for your family in case you pass away. Is that what you're looking for today?
Yeah, I think that's that. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So when you say something like that, are you looking more for burial expense or are you looking to leave money behind?
A little bit of both. I want to leave some money behind for my wife, and also just make sure my kids, maybe have something extra if there's something left, if it fits in the budget.
Okay, great. So I just want to be clear before we start that what you're looking to do is leave some money behind for your wife and kids, and this way they can bury you. And if there's something extra left over, that would be a perfect scenario. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. So before we start, I'm going to give you some information and then I'm going to collect information from you as well. But let me give you my license. Here's a copy of it.
Okay. What do I need? What do I need a copy of your license for?
Well, this would just let you know that I am who I say I am and that I can work for you like I'm telling you I can. And that, just so you know, it doesn't tell you this on my license, but I am non-captive. So with this license, I can work with any carrier. So we can find an option that's going to work for you.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so here's my license. Like I said, you can feel free to take a picture. I'll leave a copy behind. But other than that, we can move on. So let me just ask you a couple of other questions I'm going to ask you things about your health, finances, all of those kinds of things. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because I just want to make sure that we can find the best option for you. Okay, so I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, keep going.
Okay. So let's start with, are you a smoker, non-smoker?
So you're this close. So like that was the last part is, and then we're going to show you some options, and then we're going to submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. So let's take it back to there. So, take it right back, a couple of sentences, hey, I'm going to ask you 2 minutes of questions on your health. Let's start there.
Okay. Can I ask you a quick question before we go there? Is there an actual, I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head. Is there an actual script for this?
There is an actual script. And I'm happy to share it with you. And that's okay. Off the top of the head's better, because then we can give you a live feedback. So I'm going to ask you some questions on your health. I'm going to ask you some questions on your finance. Then I'm going to show you some options. If we see something that makes sense, we're going to submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify.
Yeah.
But we're going to do this.
Right.
I think that's the number one thing, guys. We're going to submit a request for coverage. If you don't tell them we're going to, when you get to that point, they're going to be confused.
Okay. So you want to start? Go ahead.
Yeah, start back at the health question.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions today. I'm going to ask you some health questions. I'm going to ask you some finance questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, great. So once we do that, we're going to see what you can qualify for, and we're going to submit an application to see where we can land with what you're looking for. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay, great. So are you a smoker or non-smoker?
Non-smoker. Okay. So it's a little bit of work. That's okay. We'll work on it. But I appreciate you for coming on here and role playing with us. Everyone give her a silent round of applause. Guys, the biggest thing is just we're going to submit a request for coverage. We're going to. That's what's going to give the client confidence. So Nakia, thank you so much. I will hit you up. We'll get you some leads, some extra leads, and we will go from there. Okay. Who else was messaging me? I believe I got let's see. I had Sam Kelly. You're not on camera, bro. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay.
Oh, yes, I am.
Heck yeah. All right. All right, Sam, what do you want to do? You want to do a telesale? Oh, we lose you?
Sorry, I was trying to do a little bit of dinner too.
Oh, he lost his turn.
What?
All right.
All right.
What do you want to do? A telesale?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a telesale.
All right. Is this going to be internet lead, final expense, mortgage protection? What do we got?
Throw me a curveball. Let's find out.
All right. This is going to be an internet lead.
All right, cool.
So you've already set the appointment with me. You've already called. You've already done the deal. You set the appointment for 3 p.m. Tuesday. It's now 3 p.m. Tuesday. You're calling me. We're starting the appointment.
All right, let me get to that part of my screen. All right, cool. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Jamie?
Yeah, this is Jamie. Is this Sam?
Yes, it is. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good, good. Hey, I was just getting a hold of you so that we could go ahead and run that appointment. You at home right now?
Yeah, I am at home.
All right, perfect. Could you grab a pen and paper for me real fast so we can get this going?
Yeah, hold on one second. I never know where to find a pen around here.
I know, I run into it every time or it's dead.
Yeah, okay, I got one.
All right, perfect. So did you happen to open up that link I sent you when we spoke last and set this appointment?
What link?
All right, let me go ahead and send that again real quick. This is a link, and this is a cell phone that I'm calling, correct?
Yeah, this is my cell phone.
All right, cool. So if you open up the link that I just sent you, what that is, that's my verified producer page. So let me know when you see my ugly mug.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is an ugly mug. But I see.
I know. I know. So what I want you to do is to go ahead and scroll down, and you're going to see a spot where it says license and credentials. All right.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Now go ahead and choose Michigan.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
All right. And type in my national producer number 185-13699. You got that pulled up?
Yeah, it says. I mean, there's not much here, but it says you have a license, so that's cool.
Perfect. Okay. And I wanted to make sure that you saw that because we are required to make sure that you are able to verify us. So now that we got that process done, let's go ahead and step on into this. Like I said last time, my job is pretty simple here. I'm a broker, so I'm going to do a lot of shopping around for you on this so you don't have to talk to 30, 40 different people because I shop around through 30, 40 different companies, right?
Okay.
And so once we get that done, there's not going to be any fancy presentation. I'm not a sales guy, just a field underwriter. So when we finish that shopping, we're going to see about getting, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of place with my script on this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 minutes to ask you some finance and medical questions. From there, I'll have an idea of which carrier may qualify you. Then we need to get you in front of that carrier because they have no idea who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, what we're going to do is just submit a simple request to the carrier. In that request, they're going to ask for 3 pieces of information. One is going to be a driver's license number. Make sure you're not on the run from the cops. You're not, right?
No, not right now.
Not right now. Okay, we'll keep it that way for just another minute here then. Next one is going to be a social security number to verify that you are who you say you are, not taking the insurance out of somebody else's name, and of course, run the MIB. And then the last one is going to be a banking institution like a credit union or a bank, with a routing and account number to be on file. That way, because you obviously need to be able to pay for it, right? So is all that going to be able to work out?
I don't know. I don't really. I was just looking for a quote. I wasn't planning on giving any personal information out to anybody today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like we talked about before, I'm not the quote guy. I am the field underwriter. I'm the one who figures out what you qualify for and then submits that request just to see if you can even get covered, right? Because we have no clue what's going to happen. This isn't like going out and, buying a piece of food or anything. You actually have to qualify to get this kind of stuff. So That's why we have to run that. We have to make sure that you medically qualify because, we're doing this over phone, right? So I'm not able to see all your medications on the counter or lack thereof. So, we're going to go ahead and just get that anyway. And when it comes down to it, they will get back with us with a quote. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Okay. So I'm giving you a hard time because you didn't ask me why I was looking for any insurance.
Right.
So I haven't connected with you in any way.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm looking for. So of course I'm gonna be skeptical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I jumped around on the presentation on that. So appreciate you throwing me that curveball.
No, that's all right. So let's go back to the top, this time find out why I need insurance and revoice back to me what I'm looking for.
Perfect. Top, like starting the call off.
Top.
Okay.
You probably speed through the NIPR part, but yeah, top.
Okay, cool. Ring.
Hello.
Hey, Jamie.
Yeah, this is Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, this is Sam. You set that appointment to talk today about the final expense quote. You got a minute at home?
Yeah, and I'm home. I'm good.
All right, perfect. Could you grab a quick pen and paper for me?
Yep, got it.
All right, excellent. An IPR part, blah, 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 blah. All right, perfect. So now that you saw all that, my job here is pretty simple. I'm just here to see what you're eligible for as a field underwriter, not a sales agent. And as you can see, like I showed you, I'm licensed with about 30, 40 different companies. So I'm going to shop around for you and I can try to find something that's going to be a good fit for you. There's no fancy presentation. Again, I'm not the sales guy, just a field underwriter. So we're going to shop around for you. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, perfect. Most people do this because they want to add on to what they already have, or even sometimes talk to people that don't have anything in place yet and need to get some. Which one is you?
I don't have anything in place.
Okay, not a problem. That's why we're here. And what is the purpose of this? Is this to cover a mortgage, leave money behind to kids, grandkids, or just cover burial costs?
I mean, I just figured that life insurance is probably a good idea. I'm the breadwinner of the house, and I just want to make sure that my wife's okay if something happens to me because she doesn't work.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you want to make sure that if you were to pass away tomorrow, that your wife wouldn't have to struggle with the bills, and she can kind of keep living the way that she is right now, and also be able to cover that burial, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. So is this the first time you've been looking for life insurance, or have you been looking around for a while?
I've kind of looked around, but it's impossible to find a quote anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's because of, all the health qualifications that a lot of these people have to go through. But that's what stopped you from going through with this, was you just couldn't get a quote.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, when it comes down to it, what made you start doing this now? Like, why didn't you do this beforehand?
I'm getting older, and I just figured that I should probably do it now before I get too unhealthy to qualify for it or too old to afford it.
Okay, so you are aware that of how our health, influences that price, and that as we get older, it gets more expensive. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. So you said your wife would be picking up the pieces today if something happened to you. Is there anybody else that you might have to protect as well?
No, just my wife.
Okay, perfect. Gonna take care of your wife. And what's your wife's name again?
Katie.
Katie. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and see what we can do to help protect Katie here. So the way that we're gonna go about this is we're gonna take 5 minutes and ask you some finance and some medical questions. From there, I'll have an idea of which carrier may qualify you. Then we need to get you in front of that carrier, right? Because they have no idea who you are. To do that, we're going to have to do is just submit a simple request to the carrier. In that request, they're going to ask for 3 pieces of info: a driver's license number to make sure that you're not on the run from the cops. You're not, right?
Nope, I'm not.
Okay. The second one, just like how I have that NIPR number, the social security number for what I do, they're going to need a social security number to verify that you are who you say you are as well. and that you're not taking insurance out in somebody else's name. That's also how we check for your medical background history. The
Okay.
final thing that they'll need is a banking institution or a credit union to be on file, like an account or routing number. If you're approved, it usually takes about 2 to 7 days to find out if you are approved. But if you're approved, then at that time, they'll take the first payment. And you're covered without having to be in a cup, do a blood draw, or a medical exam. Make sense? Any questions on that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right,
Okay.
perfect.
Awesome. Good job, man. That was really good. So here's the thing, guys. So Sam's obviously said the part with the driver's license, the social security number, the bank account many times. That's why it comes out like he said it before. Now, when I first started doing telesales, that part tripped me up so hard because I never did that in the home. So when I got to that point, like I need your driver's license, your social, and your bank account, everyone else got tripped out because I was tripped out, and they could feel my nervousness coming through. So to this day, that's not something that I do. A lot of really successful telesales agents, they ask for it all up front because they want to make sure they're not going to get the objection on the back end. And if you get the yes there, that's the thing, is that like Sam's going to get a way more qualified rest of his presentation if someone says yes there. But like I would always be the guy who I'd go through it. I wouldn't ask that. And then I would ask for it when I get to the application. So like it's not a one size fits all, but just know that if you ask that in the beginning, you're going to, in the beginning, when you're not as strong and confident, you're going to have to overcome some objections on the front end versus on the back end. So either way, it's like you're either going to spend 10 minutes overcoming them on the front or on the back. One's going to save you time. One, you're going to end up at the end of the application, either make the sale or not make the sale. So that's good. And again, different word tracks for everybody. If I were saying, and I'd be like, hey, look at your driver's license just to make sure, you are who you say you are, in that scenario, he wanted to inject some humor. If you're a humorous person, inject some humor. Some people like it. Some people don't. You got to figure out what flows for you. We got to look at your social to make sure, again, you are who you say you are, but that's also how we're going to check your prescription history with the MIB. And we got to make sure there's a financial institution on file because, of course, again, preventing insurance fraud, making sure no one's taking this out in your name. And to make sure if you get approved, we have a way to go ahead and pay for it. So, excuse me. So that's great, Sam. Good job, man. I appreciate you jumping on here.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course, man. We'll do one last one and we'll get off of here in the
Jamie.
next couple of minutes.
I go next.
Jamie?
Oh, is that Blaze?
No, this is Hytham.
Yeah, I'm
Haytham, you got on here with Sean a few weeks ago, so I gotta give someone else. And I think you were on with me like last time as well, so I gotta get someone else on.
No, I wasn't, but that's fine. I'm not.
Are you sure?
Oh,
No,
God.
I wasn't. I haven't been. But I just really would like to do it just to get critiqued. It's not about the $500 for the leads.
Well, now I have to give you $500 for leads because you're such a good attitude. So we'll do both Haytham and Blaze, and then we're gonna jump off of here.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it, man. We'll have Haytham go first, though.
All right. I just really would like to get critic about what I do. Hit me with objections, and let's see how I do.
Is this going to be over the phone or in person?
Yeah, I'm only over the phone.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah, this is Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, this is Hytham. I'm reaching out to you because regarding the form that was filled out. And this is in regards to the burial and funeral final expense program. And
What was this for again?
This is for the funeral and the burial final expense program. And I was just reaching out to you to get that information to you. Can you do me a favor? Can you grab a paper and pen right quick?
What do I need a pen for?
I got to share some information with you. And it's a state requirement. So I just want to make sure you have that information.
Okay.
All right. So my name is Hytham, and my NPN number, which is my national producer number, that's my license. It's 193-10152.
Okay.
Jamie, let me ask you, this phone I'm calling you on, are you able to receive text messages on that?
Yep, I got a text message. Yep.
Okay. I just sent you a text message. Can you let me know if you received it and you can open that link?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, perfect. Now, when you open that link, do you see a picture of a handsome guy in there?
Yeah, sure.
That's me right there. And if you scroll down a little bit, you're gonna see states, and that's each state, if you click on it, you can see my license in each state. Can you see those?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. And if you scroll down on just a little bit more, you're going to see all these carriers that I'm currently contracted with. I'm appointed by them. I don't work for them directly, but I work with them. So that qualifies me to see what other options, what all the options that's available for you in that area. Sounds
Okay.
good?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, Jamie, when you looked at this, what was your purpose of looking into getting this life insurance?
I'm not really sure. It just sounded like a good idea. I saw an advertisement that said I could get $500,000 for $15 a month.
Okay, well, that does sound good, and obviously you're looking into that because something triggered that you were interested in it because you didn't want to leave any burden behind for your family, when you do pass away, so they don't have to deal with the paying for the funeral and the expenses while they're mourning over your loss. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. And have you been looking at this for a while, or is this like your first time, or?
First time. I don't know much.
Okay, perfect. So I'm not a salesperson, so I'm just a field underwriter, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions here, and we're going to go over the health questions and a little bit of financial questions. This is only going to take a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And Jamie, are you a smoker?
No.
No. Okay, perfect. And who would be the beneficiary?
My son.
Your son? Okay. And sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, that's okay. So I'll pause here because I think that for you, like you're 100% saying all the right things. However, I would maybe change the order up a little bit.
Yeah,
I would maybe bring it, because if this from what it sounded like that was a one call close. Hey, go grab a pen. So you had me go grab the pen within like the first 2 or 3 sentences. And in that scenario, like, I don't really know who you are, why you're calling. There's no like credibility to the point where like I'm willing to go grab that pen. I was, I gave a little bit of pushback, but I kind of was nice through the rest of it. But it's like, hey, here's who I am. Here's why I'm calling. Hey, here's why most people fill this out. Is that you, or were you looking for something different? And then if like that's what I was looking for, okay, perfect. It'll take about 5 or 10 minutes to go through. Go grab a pen. And then at that point, then I'd be like in the presentation and like doing everything. So like I am like, even in a scenario, if I'm doing a one call close, I'm not running through my national producer number and all that stuff until they've gone to grab the pen, until I'm in the actual appointment, because like the goal is for me to get to the point where they grab the pen. Like I don't need to overly wow them with credibility, right when I get on the phone. Like my goal is to keep them from hanging up, because when you're doing a one call close, it's so transactional right off the bat. Like they need to know, like, cut to the chase. Who is it? Why are you calling? Why should I not hang up on you? So as simple as, if I'm doing one call close in the internet lead, which is what most people are calling, hey, Hatham, this is Jamie. I'm just getting back with you. You put in a quote looking for life insurance a couple months ago. I'm assuming your phone was probably blown up with telemarketers and spam calls and stuff like that. I'm just the local underwriter here in Oakland County that's been assigned to get that information to you. It's like a 10 or 15 minute process, to get you your quote and walk you through everything. Are you working or retired? Retired. Okay, perfect. Again, like I said, it'll take 10 or 15 minutes. Most people typically fill this out for XYZ reason. Is that what you're looking for? Yes. Okay, great. Go grab a pen and we'll run through this real quick. Or, they're like, I'm driving. Okay, great. Well, let's schedule an appointment. Whatever that looks like. But I want to tell them who I am, why I'm calling, confirm with them just real quick. Is that what you were looking for? No, I was looking for health insurance, looking for car insurance. No, I thought I was going to win a free iPad if I filled out this survey, like whatever. But like, I want to know if they say, yes, I'm looking for life insurance. Okay, perfect. This will take 10 minutes. Go grab a pen. Then you're in the appointment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That would be my only like feedback for you. Cause like you are saying all the right things, but it's just like those first 3-4 sentences are everything, because you're never going to get to the point where I'm going to go grab a pen if you don't confirm that that's what I was looking for. And you're the person who can help me with the request that I had.
Okay. So
Does that
I
make
need to move
sense?
that. Yes, I need to move that in a different order.
Yeah, I'd move that ahead, but like again, like your word tracks are on point. You're saying all the things. Yeah, I would just move that a little bit earlier. So
Okay. And I was trying to do it off the top of my head, not looking at the script.
that's all right. That's all right. So guys, there's no shame in using a script. There's absolutely no shame in using a script, having a script in front of you. I had a script in front of me for the first year and a half, even after I had it memorized, because it just ingrained it even deeper to the point where now 3 years later, I don't need a script. I can see it in my mind because I've seen it so many times. All right. Appreciate you, Hatham. Just for purposes of time, I want to respect everybody. We'll have Blaze go real quick.
Thank you.
What's up, Blaze?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So you're calling in from Hawaii, right?
Yes, I am.
And you were running in the home, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And you just had your first appointment the other day.
Yeah, actually, I had a couple of appointments. So
Okay. Did you make a sale on any of those first appointments?
yes, I got 2 sales.
You got 2 sales. Hey, congratulations, man. That's incredible. All right. So walk us through. You've just knocked on the door. You said, hey, I'm here for our appointment. You know, is that your kitchen table? Walk us through really quickly your setting of the table and who you are and why you're there.
Okay. Hey, Jamie, how you doing today, man?
I'm good.
Awesome, bro. Okay, before we start, here's my credentials. All right, I got my national producer number right here. Okay, I have my ID over here. If you'd like to take a picture, go ahead. The state requires I give this to you. Okay.
Okay.
So first thing I'd like to go over is why'd you fill out the form? Was it to leave money behind for final expenses, income replacement? What were you looking for?
I think a little bit of everything. I mean, I don't know. I wanted to make sure my kids could cremate me, and I got some debts too. I just don't want to be a burden.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Okay, so what I'm hearing is when you pass away, you want to make sure that your kids are taken care of, right? They're not left with any of the debts or any of the final expenses, correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Awesome. Okay, so a little about who I am, Jamie. I'm a field underwriter. I'm not a salesman, all right? I'm just here to see what you're medically eligible for, okay? And I'm also non-captive, which means I work with multiple companies, so I can shop around for you, all right? You don't have to shop, I'll do that for you. Sound good?
Sounds good, yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go over a couple minutes of health and finance questions. Okay, and based on how you answer those questions, I'll make a recommendation. I'll show you some options, and if we find an option that makes sense, we'll submit the request for coverage and see what you qualify for. Okay, sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, are you a smoker? Yeah.
It sounds like it sounds like someone's fresh out of boot camp, because that was on point, man, and it makes sense why you were able to get 2 sales out of your first couple appointments. So that's fantastic.
Cheated. I have.
Hey, cheating's good. So I want to throw this out there. So he has the in-home agenda in front of him. So the in-home agenda, literally, it's like the 8 steps to a final expense in-home. When I first got started, I legit had a piece of paper that had my notes from Paul McLean's video, 8 steps to a final expense in-home, and I just kept it in front of me. And the client had no idea what was in my notebook. For them, it was just, I'm just looking at my notes like, I don't want to forget what to say. Client has no idea that I have no idea what to say. I'm just looking down, glancing down, make sure I got the next thing to say. Then I took it and I typed it out. I erased, Paul McLean's name from the top, and I just wrote the word agenda at the top, just agenda. And I sat it down with the client. So now, like, I'm not sitting across the table. I'm sitting next to the client. I got my license. I got my credibility sheet, and I have the agenda. And I'm talking to the client. And I'm like, point 1, here's who I am. Here's why we do what we're doing. Okay, here's what you're looking for. Okay, great. Okay, here's what we're going to do today. And I'm literally like walking the client through. So like in their mind, they're like, wow, this guy's really structured. He brought an agenda to our appointment. But for me, it was so I wouldn't forget what to say. So like little cheat code, the client has no idea what you're supposed to say. So there's no shame in having a script right next to you, whether you're over the phone in person. You could literally bring a script into the house of the client. The client has no idea. They literally have no clue. Okay. So I just want to make sure we're going to keep it short, because Blaze, you crushed that. I couldn't really even give any better feedback to that, other than if you say it 1,000 times, you're going to sound even better. So guys,
Hey,
I
Jamie,
hope that
where do you get that from? Is that
So
Google?
it's called the in-home agenda. If anybody either goes to fflamerica.com in the download section, or you go to livinghopeffl.com in the download section, resources, tools, the in-home agenda. If you look up on YouTube, Jamie Chirio, in-home agenda, you'll get about a dozen videos where I talk about how to go through that. So guys, it's past 7 o'clock here on the West Coast, past 10 o'clock over there on the East Coast. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're going to do this again next Thursday. Next Thursday, we'll be back with Hall of Fame producer Sean Simpson. Those of y'all who did participate tonight, to reach out to me. We'll get you some leads here in the next 24 to 48 hours. I appreciate everybody. Hope everyone has an amazing night, and we'll see y'all next week. See you guys.
Thank you, James.